So welcome everyone to a brand new video of our channel. The movie we are going to talk about today is Venom The Last Dance. And this Venom The Last Dance movie is the third Venom movie of Sony's Spider-Man universe, which has been released all over the world today. And yes, the most special thing about Venom 3 movie is that in this movie, we not only see many symbiotes, but also their god, i.e. Null, along with all those symbiotes. So that's why, let's start this video quickly and explain the whole story of Venom The Last Dance movie in the video. So that whoever has not seen this movie yet, they can also sit at home and enjoy the story of this movie. So the video is very interesting, so watch the whole video till the end. And if you like the video, be sure to like the video. And along with liking the video, be sure to write words like Venom, Null, or Venom 3 in all the comments. And all this so that we can also know that you all liked the video. So come on, now without any delay, let's start today's amazing video. So Venom 3 starts with Clintar, where we see that there are many symbiotes in Clintar, and Null is sitting in the middle of all those symbiotes. The same Null who is the god of all these symbiotes. But here we see that Null is imprisoned at this time, because Null's limbs and his body are tied up by the symbiotes around him. He says, "I am Null, the god of darkness, and I have created the symbiote species." Null says that many years ago he was in his empire of darkness. But then suddenly one day the light came, and he snatched his empire of darkness from him. But after that, his maid symbiote children also deceived him, and held him and imprisoned him in this Clintar. Beyond this, Null says that he needs Codex to get out of this prison, because Codex is such a thing that can become the key to this prison and free Null from here. Now along with this, we find out that on this Clintar, Null not only has his symbiotes, but there are also many xenophages nearby. And these xenophages are such creatures that kill and eat symbiotes. Now friends, here Sony has taken a slightly different take, and that is because the xenophages in Marvel Comics are of some other planet. But in the Venom 3 movie, we are shown that all these xenophages were also created by Null. And Null created them all before creating the symbiotes. And that's why we see here that the color of all these xenophages is also black. And that's why, friends, we find out here that years ago, when the symbiote race was against Null, then all of them together imprisoned Null. But these xenophage species are still loyal to Null. And that's why we see here that Null gives this order to all his xenophages that they spread out in the corners of the universe and go to all the planets and find Codex. And as soon as all the xenophages get Codex, they bring that Codex for Null. So that Null can be free with the help of Codex. And that's why, friends, Null says here that once he gets Codex, he will be free from here. And then after that, he will destroy the entire universe and create his darkness empire again. And then after saying this, Null opens many portals around him. And with the help of these portals, he sends all the xenophages to different planets in the universe, so that they can find Codex for Null. Now, after this, the movie intro comes. And after the intro, we directly see Eddie Brock. And at this time, Eddie Brock is sitting in the bar in which he was in Spider-Man No Way Home. And we find out that this scene is also the same as Spider-Man No Way Home. Here we see that Eddie Brock is trying to find out about MCU heroes. And with this, he also hears from the bartender that there was a villain named Thanos in this universe who made half of the universe disappear for 5 years. But after all this, we see that Eddie Brock comes back to his universe with his Venom symbiote. Because as of course, at this time, Doctor Strange casts his spell, and that's why Eddie Brock and Venom symbiote come back to their universe at the next moment. Even after coming back, Eddie and Venom see that they are in the same place in their universe where they were in the MCU world. That is, even at this time, they are in the same bar in Mexico. And the bartender in front of them is also exactly the same. The only difference is that the bartender in their universe has long hair. Now, as soon as Eddie Brock comes here, we see that Venom takes out many of his hands from Eddie's body and makes a drink for Eddie Brock and gives it to him. But at the same time, the bartender sees Eddie, because of which he notices that a lot of hands are coming out of Eddie's body. But then at the same time, Eddie Brock sees a TV in the same bar. In the TV, the news is going on that a detective named Patrick Mulligan has died. And the police suspect that Eddie Brock killed Patrick Mulligan. For this, the police are looking for Eddie Brock. And Eddie Brock becomes Venom for the first time in this movie. And then as soon as he becomes Venom, he first frees all the dogs. And then by catching all 3 villains, Venom eats their heads. Now after all this, Eddie comes back in his human form. And by freeing all those dogs, he leaves from there and starts moving forward on his way. But at the same time, we notice that a xenophage comes on the building behind Eddie. That is the same xenophage that Null sent. But Eddie Brock doesn't see that xenophage, and he keeps walking on his way. Now on the other side of this, we see that a man is sitting very far from here, who is keeping an eye on Eddie Brock at this time, and the road on which Eddie Brock is walking at this time. The CCTV cameras of that road are covering the footage of Eddie Brock, and through all this footage, that unknown man is watching Eddie Brock. Now here we can't see the face of this man, but this man says that Eddie Brock has come out now, and that's why it's time to catch him. And then this unknown man calls General Rex and tells him to catch Eddie. And here we get to know from his words that whoever this man is, but he knows about Eddie Brock in Venom. Now after this, we directly see General Rex, who as soon as he gets the information, goes straight to the bar with his team, where Eddie and Venom were. He reaches here and takes information from that bartender, on which that bartender tells General Rex that the man who had just come had a lot of hands, and he was holding his hands very long. Now after hearing this, General Rex tells his team that they should take that bartender unconscious, for which the team does the same and puts him unconscious in their car. But yes, along with this, General Rex picks up that small part of Venom's symbiote's body, which came out of Venom's body and was left on the counter. Now after this, the scene shifts and we directly meet a lady. Now this lady's name is Dr. Payne, and we get to know that Dr. Payne basically does research work in Area 51. Now friends, those who don't know, let me tell everyone that basically Area 51 is a place that exists in USA, and this place is said to be that here research is done on things related to aliens, and we are shown the same in this movie. We see Dr. Payne, who goes to work in Area 51, and after coming there, we get to know that basically all the symbiotes on Earth, all those symbiotes were held and kept here. But after some time, General Rex comes to meet Dr. Payne, after which we get to know that General Rex, he also works for Area 51. Here, General Rex, from inside the bar, the small piece of Venom's body, he also gives it to Dr. Payne so that he can do research on it. But after some time, Dr. Payne takes General Rex and goes straight to a room, and there she sees a man inside the room. We notice that there is Patrick Mulligan in that room, who is alive at this time and is in the custody of Area 51. Here Dr. Payne and General talk to each other, that when we met him, he was dead at that time, and for that, we made him bond with a symbiote, because of which he is alive now. And from here, we get to know that inside Sony's Spider-Man universe, some symbiote can revive a dead person. After this, we notice that Patrick Mulligan suddenly stands up, and he comes near the glass of the room. And while talking to Dr. Payne and General, he says that you all are going to face a big danger. After this, we get to know that whatever Patrick Mulligan is saying, that is actually his symbiote's words, which means that at this time, here, not Patrick Mulligan, but his symbiote is talking to him. Here, the symbiote inside Patrick Mulligan tells General and Dr. Payne about Null. And this symbiote also knows about Null, because all the symbiotes of Sony's Spider-Man universe are connected to HiveMind. That symbiote tells them that the one who created them, his name is Null, and he is the god of darkness. But many years ago, all those symbiotes had imprisoned Null, but now Null wants to be free, and that's why he wants to get Codex, so that he can free himself from Codex. Now after this, the scene shifts, and we directly see Eddie. We see that Eddie Brock has become Venom's symbiote, and has stuck to a plane, and he is flying through the same plane to New York, but the next moment, a xenophage comes to the same plane, after which Venom and xenophage fight on the same plane, and we see that xenophage sees Codex in Venom's body, which Codex is on Venom's neck. But here Venom somehow tricks xenophage, and he jumps from the plane and opens a parachute and saves Eddie. Now Eddie Brock asks Venom, who was that creature, and why was he attacking them? Venom tells Eddie that he was a xenophage, and he came here to take their Codex. Now Eddie doesn't understand anything, So Eddie asks Venom, "What is going on?" Venom tells Eddie that all those symbiotes were created by a god. Other option, then he properly bonds with Eddie. But as soon as that happens, we see that Xenophage tracks Venom, and it comes to Venom very quickly. But as soon as Xenophage comes there, General Rex's team gets scared of it, and it starts firing on Xenophage. But taking advantage of this opportunity, Venom quickly enters Eddie's body and takes Eddie out of there. After which Eddie, Venom, General Rex, and Xenophage both survive. After this, Eddie moves ahead in the jungle, and as soon as he goes a little further, he meets a man. The man's name is Martin, and Martin is here with his family, whose family also has his wife and 2 children. Here, Martin feeds Eddie. And when asked, Martin tells Eddie that he is actually going to Area 51 because he has heard that there are aliens there, and he has always dreamed of seeing aliens. And that's why he's taking his family and going to see aliens there. Now listening to Martin, Eddie understands that Martin is a very innocent and good person. And for this, Eddie asks Martin for help and tells him that Martin should take him to New York City, for which Martin agrees. And he takes Eddie in his car and takes him to New York, after which Martin takes his family and goes to Area 51. After coming here, Eddie Brock changes his clothes to hide and goes straight to a casino. But in the same casino, he meets Mrs. Chen. After which Mrs. Chen is very happy to see Eddie, and she takes him with her to her house. Here Mrs. Chen is very happy, and that's why she dances in front of Eddie, and she tells Eddie to dance too, on which we see that Eddie refuses. But Venom starts dancing in excitement, and he properly transforms Eddie into Venom. But as soon as this happens, she comes there by tracking him with Xenophage. But seeing Xenophage, Venom again enters Eddie's body. After which, Xenophage can't track him, and she quietly leaves from there. But after Xenophage leaving from there, we see that the team of General Rex also comes there, because they also found Eddie Brock. And that's why after coming there, they make Eddie Brock unconscious, and using a device, they take Venom out of his body and lock him in a container, and then they come to Area 51's lab with Eddie Brock and Venom. Here, as soon as Eddie Brock comes to his senses, he sees that he is in Area 51's lab, but as soon as he comes to his senses, we see that General Rex comes directly to Eddie, and he shoots Eddie, so that Eddie dies. But in this lab, the assistant of Dr. Payne, whose name is Dr. Sadie, he actually opened Venom's container, because of which Venom symbiote from his body, and as soon as this happens, Eddie Brock's life is saved, and he becomes properly Venom. But as soon as he becomes Venom, Xenophage also attracts him, and she also goes directly to that lab. And as soon as she comes to the lab, she starts destroying the whole lab, and she starts killing all the people of General Rex. Now seeing this, the assistant of Dr. Payne, who is Dr. Sadie, she also opens the containers of all the symbiotes, so that all the symbiotes can help Venom, and they can all defeat Xenophage. And as soon as all the symbiotes come out of their containers, they bond with the people around them and start competing with Xenophage. But here we see that Xenophage is very powerful than all these symbiotes, and that's why she catches some of these symbiotes and eats them. But Venom takes advantage of this, and he quickly comes to Eddie's body, because of which Xenophage can't track Venom. And the next moment, Eddie Brock comes out of that lab and comes out in the open area. But after coming out, Eddie notices that there is a family of Martinauts there. But now, because of Xenophage, the family of Martinauts could have been harmed. That's why Eddie quickly goes to them, and he safely takes them out of there. Along with this, we see on the other side that now all the symbiotes start attacking Xenophage. But as soon as this happens, Xenophage starts screaming very loudly, and she screams and signals to her other companions. So that we see that many portals open around her, and there are 4 to 5 more Xenophage. And that's why Eddie Brock becomes Venom. And he also starts fighting with all the symbiotes. But now, because so many Xenophage were very heavy on the symbiotes, that's why the symbiotes start losing. And not only that, but Venom and Eddie Brock also get hurt a lot. And for this, Venom's symbiote takes Eddie Brock a little far. And he tells Eddie that now he has only one way to defeat all these Xenophage. And for this, he and Eddie have to face Xenophage together. After which we see that Eddie Brock becomes Venom again. and everyone starts coming to xenophage. Seeing this, all the xenophage also surround Venom. But after this, Venom takes out many of his tentacles and starts bonding all the xenophage with himself. That means he also joins all of them. And after doing this, Venom comes to a place nearby where a very powerful acid is kept. And that acid can kill anything. And here Venom's only plan is to kill all the xenophage with the same acid. And that's why Venom, as soon as he takes them to the acid, just before reaching there, he takes Eddie Brock out of his body so that he can save Eddie's life. And after that, Venom takes all the xenophage and comes under the acid. And because of that dangerous acid, all the xenophage slowly die. But along with all of them, Venom's symbiote is also killed. But along with his death, Venom's symbiote also kills all the xenophage. And along with Venom, Eddie Brock also becomes unconscious due to many injuries. But with this, we also see that Dr. Payne takes out a symbiote from a container, and that symbiote is none other than Scorn's symbiote. And that's why Dr. Payne turns from Scorn's symbiote to Scorn and leaves with his assistant. After this, when Eddie Brock opens his eyes, he sees that he is in a hospital at this time. Here, to meet Eddie Brock, a senior officer from the U.S. military comes, and he comes here and says thank you to Eddie and tells him that Eddie Brock saved us from all those alien creatures called xenophage. And because of Eddie and his Venom symbiote, he is saved from a big tragedy. And that's why that officer frees Eddie from all his charges. And he tells Eddie that from now on, Eddie Brock can live his life comfortably. Now in the next scene, we see that Eddie Brock starts living his life normally. But Eddie misses his Venom symbiote a lot. But then this movie ends with it. Now friends, after the movie ends, there are two post-cut scenes in this movie. In the first scene, we see Null. In this scene, we are shown Null's proper face, and here Null says that now I will destroy the entire universe. So that's why from this scene, we know that God of Symbiote Null will be used in the movies in the future. Now let's talk about the second scene. So in this second scene, we see the same bartender who was caught by General Rex and brought to Area 51. Here we see that the bartender stands outside Area 51, and he sees that everything around him is destroyed. And that's why he doesn't understand what happened here. But then here we also see that the same piece of Venom symbiote's body, which was caught by General Rex from the bartender's bar. But this scene also ends here. So friends, this scene basically tells us that Venom is still alive in Sony's Spider-Man universe, because the small piece of Venom's body will become Venom in the future. And maybe he will be bonded with the bartender first, but now we will know what actually happens. So friends, this was the video on the story of Venom The Last Dance movie. By the way, do tell me in the comments, and if you like the video, then like the video, and write Venom or Venom 3 in the comments. Or you can write good or very good, and all this so that we know that you all liked the video. So that's it for today's video. Let's end this video here. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, sure thing. Here is a slightly longer response. Hi all my friends. I hope you enjoyed my movie explanation. Your support means a lot to me, so please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share the video introduction. Thank you.